Shane Beamer saying that some people were asking him why he didn't bring Spencer Rattler, and he said, you know what, we'll bring him next year for his senior year, winking with that, because obviously not many people expecting Spencer Rattler to be back for the Gamecocks next year. But you mentioned Shane Beamer and getting to work in the media with someone like him. I know from my perspective, being at the local level, he's been absolutely fantastic, but you have sideline reported a lot of South Carolina's games. What is it like to work with a coach like him?
It's been awesome, honestly. Even before I met him one-on-one in person, you can just tell he's such a genuine guy. And I've been telling this story throughout the week so far. You know, now that he's got a year under his belt, we look back on the hiring process and we look back on those early memories to look ahead by saying, wow, you know, that Shane Beamer hire maybe was a surprise to a lot of people. And look where South Carolina is now, potentially in a position to shock some people going into his second season. And I will never forget when South Carolina was going through the hiring process. I was doing a lot of radio interviews and people were asking, well, if you were Ray Tanner, who would you choose to replace Will Muschamp as the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks? And I remember texting with some of the guys who I went to school with during some of the best years of Carolina football, the back-to-back 11-win seasons, bowl games, Outback Bowls. I mean, just the golden years, right? And every single one of them would say, it's got to be Shane. It's got to be Shane Beamer. Then a couple months later, he ends up getting hired, or weeks later, I can't remember the timeline. And it's been nothing but the best experience being able to interact with him since then. From him to his family to what you said, doing games at Williams-Brice Stadium. One of my favorite memories from last season was halftime of the Florida game, which I think was a lot of Gamecock fans' favorite memory from last season. And I guess he hadn't done, typically we will interview the coach who has the lead coming off of the field. The coach who does not have the lead is a talker, conversation coming back onto the field. And at the end of our interview, going off of the field because South Carolina was leading, he was like, man, this was fun. I don't get to do these very often. And I just thought it was such a genuinely happy moment from a guy who is halfway through a season that had little to no expectations from the outside world, from the rest of college football. Why would you go to South Carolina? You can't win there. And he's slowly turning this program into something that not only the players, but the fans and the outside college football landscape believes in. And it was really cool to see him in that moment because that encapsulates who he is and where his passion level is for South Carolina. And I love that.